So recently I was asked about a patina appearance that I put on a steel tumbler. This was actually inspired by some of the patina artwork that is done on antique vehicles, and I think I achieved a really cool rust appearance. So I'm going to attempt to show you how I made this look like rust. I started with a regular steel wine glass on that particular one. For this set, this will be mine. I'm not using insulated steel. I got some single steel layer cups and a pitcher, and I have patinaed them by sanding and applying a hydrogen peroxide vinegar salt mix. Stainless steel is pretty stubborn. It doesn't like to rust, so this is about as deep as you're going to get with that application, which is a far cry different from that. So actually all I'm really accomplishing with this is your base coat to help give a deeper, more realistic rust appearance on this stainless steel. I chose the cups because my mother used to collect the old aluminum colored ones that were antiques, and I thought that was kind of fitting for the patina. So I'm just going to jump right in and show you what I've done. I'll list all the colors and brands. I don't think there's a specific recipe to this. You can pick whatever colors you feel, maybe some reds, some yellows, to get this rust look. I'm using like coffee browns and some oranges. And then I actually used the blending solution to dilute these. And it does seem like you're using a lot, but it goes pretty far. And then I get these natural sponges. And it's real wet at first, but it'll start drying relatively fast. And I just keep pouncing it like this. And you'll start to see that weird pattern as it's drying. And I keep going over it because I'm actually trying to encourage that weird fisheye sort of pattern that it's doing. So I kind of want it to dry like that. You could go less, something like that, if that was more your look. I don't really think there's a rule. Right, and I've got a couple different tones of oranges and browns here. See, that one's a lot lighter than the Let's resin. See, by coming back and just sort of tapping it, you get those weird, I guess I'm going to call them fish eyes because I don't know what else to call it. I'm not going to coat the lip, but it's okay if you get it there. When you're all done, if there's anything you're not happy with, you want to go back and touch up, change the tone or the color, regular rubbing alcohol will take this off. So this is sort of my rust look, and the steel underneath gives it just this really cool metallic sheen. When I'm done with these, I'm going to let them dry 24 hours. I'm in a very humid environment, so I just want to make really sure that those alcohol inks dry. I'm not going to coat them with anything. I'm going to come right in with my favorite tumbler resin, KS resin, and coat them, and then you go on from there. So I think you can kind of see how I got that. So I have 4 cups like this I'm going to be working on, and then the pitcher. And so I'm going to keep working on this a little bit, then I'll skip forward in the video and show you the resin process. Okay, so something on my computer glitched out. After I had done the alcohol ink patina, I did let it dry 24 hours. I came back with the Rust-Oleum matte clear and lightly dusted it because it was a little sticky and I didn't want it to run when I applied the resin. I used the KS resin countertop liquid stone, and I coated it just like you would a tumbler. My husband did help make this turner, and it is a bit larger to accommodate for the size, the width of the pitcher and the handle so it wouldn't hit the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and torch it out And then I'm going to let it dry for 24 hours. Alright, so just like every other tumbler turner video, nothing to it. A little bit of resin, coated it with my finger with some gloved hands. I say it used about an ounce, so that's where we're at. I'm going to go on to the cups. They were exactly the same as I showed. Same alcohol job, light coat of the matte clear Rust-Oleum just to be sure nothing would run. I wouldn't recommend a gloss coat. I have had alcohol inks run when I've tried a gloss coat. Matte is pretty dry on application. That's just my personal preference. So at this point, you've seen me take a steel cup and apply the alcohol ink to get a pattern something like this. I clear coated it with matte clear Rust-Oleum 2 times, and I've applied 3 layers of paint, a brown and 2 tones of turquoise, which I would have inserted some still pictures, and then the cups end up looking like this. And I've already gone back and started on 2 of them, but I'm going to just show you the process here in a second. This is what it will look like when you come back with some acetone and strip off some of the paint to give it a patina look. I use paper towels and acetone. It's best to just take it slow and do a little at a time. You can always come back and do more, but you could really mess it up and have to redo the paint entirely if you just go overboard to start out. I try to pick spots that are going to wear naturally, like this. And you kind of get this tone of the brown coming through the turquoise there. And you go through a lot of paper towels, there's no doubt of that. I think cotton would be too wet and you would probably strip a lot more off than you meant to. But whatever works for you, the process is what it is, and if something like an old shirt or cotton balls is what works for you, that's great. You're just trying to achieve actually coming back and taking off some of this paint. You see the acetone starts drying out pretty quick. There's no particular right or wrong to the pattern you choose. It's just whatever you think looks best. You can leave as much or as little of the paint as you want. So you're getting the point. I'll come back as soon as I get some of this cleaned up, and I'll show you the next step, which is to clean up some of the cloudiness where the paint residue is. You can take a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and it will clear it up without continuing to strip so harshly. But yeah, that will become this. Alright, so I'm back. A little bit of a lesson learned. When I first tried this technique, this cup, after I did the layers of paint, I came back with the acetone and wiped off the paint about 24 hours later, so it was dry to the touch. And you can see that there's a lot more of the drag of the undercolor, making it look dirty and aged, which I didn't mind. But on these cups that I've actually used on this video, I let this paint sit here about 4 days, so it was very dry, and it was terrible to try to wipe off with the acetone. I in fact had to scrub so hard that in some areas I actually started removing the resin and the alcohol. So I had to come back with the same technique with the alcohol ink and the little piece of sponge and touch up some areas, which it doesn't look just terrible, but I would not recommend waiting several days to remove that paint. It was a lot harder. After I did the touch up, I matte painted these again, so when I apply the next coat of resin, the ink won't run. On the pitcher, I'm happy with it. I won't wait that long to remove paint again, but I also wanted to show you, yes, I had to make a giant foam cutout as a custom size to go in here. We also took a homemade cup turner and lifted it up a bit higher, basically built one specifically for this since it's so much larger. But this is all done now, and the next part of the video should show that custom turner and putting resin on this and some of these cups. Okay, so this is the monster turner. I will try to take some basic dimensions and photographs to put in the description of the video. But basically you just want to make sure that the rod it's on is long enough and you're going to have enough clearance for the handle for the whole thing to turn. I'm using the same kind of motor that you would on a standard cup turner.